Unlocking property success. It's all about having the right team in your corner. We've brought on expert buyer's agent Jeremy Budwani, local real estate buyer's agent. Stay tuned. Good morning.
G'day, Billy. I do note that it was 1,166 episodes before I got an invitation, but I'm happy to be on now with you, mate. Good to see you.
Thanks for coming on. It's great to have you on. I love these kind of episodes because it's all about telling people the little tips and tricks when it comes to buying property. And I think you are an expert in the field, given that you specialize on the buying side of the transaction. And off air, we were talking about, you're assisting clients in all different, property stages of investments and first home buying and across all different price points. Give us a bit of context as to what your day-to-day looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, you're right. I do help people in all different kinds of price echelons and shapes and sizes. The day is about speaking and dealing with clients who usually have had some difficulty in their property search already. That usually means they've run into some problems along the way where it's just a process that they're not enjoying anymore. And my job day to day is about unraveling that for them, making it a much more easier and seamless process, and overall taking that stress away so I can get them into the kind of property that they want at the best possible price as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is such a stressful, emotional journey. It's supposed to be enjoyable, but I do think people get lost in the transaction sometimes, particularly when they're looking from property to property. They miss out on 3 or 4. That sort of plays on the emotional heartstrings a little bit, and it can sometimes I think become a bit of a burden, particularly when you're obviously busy with work, you're busy with family. Sometimes people are time poor. Sometimes they just feel like it's all a little bit too much. And having someone in your corner, whether it's a buyer's agent, whether it's a great solicitor, whether it's a great broker, partnering with a local agent, I think it can make the world of difference in your overall experience. So that's what we're on today.
I think so. And, Australians by nature, they're all so property obsessed. And everyone wants that piece of property that they can call their own. And after you've been looking for a while, and if it's just not coming together, it can become a little bit frustrating, to say the least. And it can become taxing. When everyone wants the same kind of thing, and when you're finding it difficult or elements of it just aren't coming together, that's when, mistakes can be made as well, because people start to think, I just need to get on the ladder or into the market. And, people calling me saying, I don't want that to happen to me because I've seen it happen to other people. It can become an emotional roller coaster that people, after a while, can get sick and tired of, to be honest.
Yeah. And so do most clients engage your services right from the beginning, as in they're thinking, I'm buying a property, I'm going to go talk to Jeremy? Or do they start reaching out once they've gone through a little bit of trouble?
Great question. The majority of people look for a period of time, try to do it by themselves first, which I actually encourage. And then if it's not coming together, if it's not working, most people call me at that point. A small percentage will say, I've seen my cousin go through the stress. I've seen my brother, not enjoy the process. Can you just do this for me now? But no, most people give it a crack themselves first, then call me. And I think it's a good thing for them to do that, because it's easier and it's a better experience for people when they know the pitfalls and when they know what the challenges are. So when they come and see me, it's about unpicking what you've gone through that wasn't working and where we need to solve, because everyone's issues are very different, but they're consistent amongst the people that do come for assistance in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've actually had the pleasure of working together quite recently. I'm going to actually give you a quick tale of the sale here, because this is a property that we've just sold in Mossman on Park Avenue. A really, really lovely apartment. The client that bought this was actually a first home buyer. Really nicely renovated, really done well from kitchens, bathrooms. It was quiet, great location. But the tricky thing around this particular property was there was some ongoing work in the building. How do you break that down for a first home buyer? Is there sort of a step by step process when you're looking at a property?
Yeah, look, the thing here with this one in particular, since you've brought it up, is that anyone's very basic research will say that the price that was somewhat advertised was very close to what these vendors sold it for or bought it for a few years ago. And so immediately that raised questions, I'm sure, with lots of people that were looking at the property. And it certainly raised questions with the person that I helped on this property. What we really had to do, it wasn't so much step by step, it was just about getting the right due diligence done to understand what this property had gone through, where it was at now, and where it's going to be heading in the future. And we really looked at that from what it was originally bought for. We looked at it in terms of what we thought was put into it from a renovation standpoint and what that costed. And then, of course, we had to look at the strata report in very, very close detail to see where the funds had been going, how much funds are left over at the moment, and what this place is going to look like in the next 5 or so years from a strata perspective. So we had to do that. And for someone who's never really done that before, that's quite an overwhelming task. And even if you have done it before multiple times, you are probably looking at purchasing something that's going to be one of your biggest assets. So this is not a process that's just for first home buyers. It's for all sorts of people that want to make sure that their investment's going to the right place. We just had to do a lot of digging, a lot of delving, and we also had a fantastic solicitor working with us that helped us through that process as well. And that's how we all became comfortable that this was going to be an awesome purchase.
And it's that collaboration between the team. It's all about having the team in your corner to make things come together when you find the right place. I think, as a selling agent, obviously we're working in the vendor's best interest. And it's great to have someone on board who understands that process. And in your case, given that there was a lot of complexity around that strata report, it was great to know that, when we had an offer agreed, that it was going to be followed through on, and all the due diligence being, done perfectly right from the beginning. Sometimes people get a bit carried away in making offers to begin with and not understanding strata reports when they're a little bit more complex. In this case, I think the owners had reassurance there that this would be an unconditional offer. So that was important to them.
Yeah, and a lot of people, do ask me, when do we start making offers? Did you want to start making offers like straight away, that the first few minutes we've started speaking, and when they've even brought a property to me, if they do? And it's like, the answer is usually no. We don't want to make offers immediately. We need to do a whole lot of research. We need to do a lot of substantiation on price to really figure out where the first offer even should be. So, so there is a process there that takes time, but it's about we understand, look after the interests of the vendor and do a great job of it. My job is about making sure the buyers are really well looked after and they get a really good outcome as well.
Yeah. And so you were saying operating across all different price points and being in the game a really, really long time with a high level experience over a number of transactions. What would be the 3 sort of main problems that these buyers run into? What are the 3 common things that you can say, if you can work around that, chances are you're going to have a stress-free buying process?
Yeah, look, I think if you can, number one, try and detach yourself from an outcome, that's probably a really good start if you're looking to do this by yourself. You and I touched on briefly just before how emotional this thing can be, but you do need to see this, I believe, as a bit of a business transaction, even if it's going to be your long-term family home. So number one, I'd be looking to detach the emotion from it. Number 2, I would not be suggesting that you should be going out there and seeing the real estate agent as your adversary. No, you want to be collaborating as much as you can with the real estate agent if you don't have a buyer's agent, because the real estate agent's that pathway for you to getting that property. So you want to work with the real estate agent and don't feel like they are your adversary. Okay. And number three is, I think, take your time. There's always another property if you miss out on one. Okay. Even if you think it's the dream home and it ticks all the boxes, there's always another property out there. So take your time and don't rush it. That's probably number three.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's such valuable advice. And if I could add anything to that, it's the obvious one. But I do see so many buyers start their search with no finance, no idea for a pre-approval. It's obviously really important and a great idea to get out and start looking at property, get an idea what you like and what you don't like, where you want to be, roughly what you want to spend. But it's important to have that conversation side by side with a broker and get your finance in place, guys, because what I see so often is you actually stumble upon your perfect property earlier than you might expect, and then you're scrambling to pull your finance together. That's probably the biggest stress I see in first home buyers. Obviously, you've got a cool off in place. In your negotiations, that gives you the better part of a week to finalize your finance and your due diligence. However, if you can just help yourself by doing that a little bit earlier before it's necessarily required on a deadline, I think that's a really good idea. Anything 100%. Else to add?
Oh, I think, there's so many different things we could add there, right? I think get out there, give it a crack yourself, figure out what works for you in the process and what doesn't. And, give it your best shot. It's the same for any person in any price range. It is a bit of a jungle out there, but once you've given it a go for a few weeks at the very least, and you've started to see some properties, you get a good idea of what you can probably afford. Like Billy said, make sure that finance is in place so you know where your limits are, and then you can start to fine tune the process from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeremy, where can we find you if your services are needed?
I think, the easiest place to find me is just via Instagram, Jeremy Bedwani, Jeremy Bedwani. That's the easiest way to reach out to me. Lots of people reach out to me via that. I typically have phone calls with people at the first step to see if there's a fit for us to help. And from there, we try and get them into the right property that's going to be suitable for them, be it an investment property or a family home.
Done. So that's it. Guys, I think if you're struggling, navigating the sometimes tricky world of buying a property, obviously give us a call. We would love to help. It's all about having the right team in your corner. And between a couple of really good advisors, this process will be so much easier. And at the end of the day, it's all about trying to, make this as enjoyable as it should be. And, just getting your foot in the door or, getting the perfect place as to what you're looking for. Thanks for coming on, Jeremy.
Billy, it's been an absolute pleasure. Great working with you the other week as well, and look forward to seeing you very soon, mate.
Yeah, busy year ahead. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
See ya.
See ya.